It started with an odd knock, one sharp rap, then two quick ones, like a rhythm rehearsed. I was in the barn when I heard it, brushing down Dusty, my old quarter horse. The ranch had been quiet that morning, the Texas sun already pushing the mercury up the thermometer, and the dust barely settled from the cattle truck that left at dawn. But that knock? It wasn't a delivery man, and it sure as hell wasn't a neighbor. I stepped out and saw two men, black tactical vests, aviators, clean-shaved military posture, and one of them had a clipboard. The other rested his hand far, too casually on what looked like a sidearm. "Sir, we're here on behalf of the Silver Ridge Homeowners Association. We've been asked to escort you off the premises," the clipboard guy said. I blinked once, slowly. "You boys are way off base," I replied. "This is private land, and I'm not part of your HOA. Never have been." "We have a court order," the second one chimed in. He didn't offer to show it. "Red flag number 1. My ranch sat on 97 acres outside the Silver Ridge development. They came in with their vinyl fences, identical stucco homes, and yard decor rules 5 years ago. And then they decided my ranch ruined their community aesthetic, tried to annex the outer boundary. I fought them back legally, won every time. So this little stunt, it was desperation. What they didn't know or forgot is that I'm not just a stubborn old man. I'm the former Attorney General of this state. I've put real criminals behind bars, taken on corrupt police departments, and argued constitutional law in federal courts. So I asked one more time. "Badge. Numbers?" They hesitated. Clipboard guy faltered. "That's not necessary, sir. This isn't a criminal matter." "Then why the vests? The guns? Why are you impersonating law enforcement?" That got them spooked. The guy with the gun shifted, but it was too late. I pulled out my phone and tapped the voice recorder. "Under State Statute 3712, impersonating a public servant is a third-degree felony. I suggest you drop the charade." Then I walked over to my pickup and reached under the passenger seat for my old leather-bound case file. Inside was the official survey, dated and notarized. The land was mine, always had been. Not a single square foot fell under HOA jurisdiction. They bolted. But that wasn't the end of it. 2 hours later, I received a letter shoved into my mailbox. No stamp, no return address. Just typed words. "You'll regret crossing the HOA. We don't lose." Big mistake. I contacted an old friend, Martha, now a sitting federal judge. I told her what happened. She didn't laugh. She didn't even sound surprised. "They're getting bold," she said. "You want me to issue a protective injunction?" I told her not yet. I wanted to build the case, and oh, did they give me material. Over the next week, I had drones buzzing over my property. My mail started going missing. A black SUV with no plates followed me into town one morning. The final straw came when someone poisoned the livestock feed. They didn't just want me off the land. They wanted me erased. So I played the long game. Set up cameras, hidden and legal. Installed license plate trackers at both ranch entrances. Every time a suspicious vehicle rolled by, I logged it, documented everything. Then I filed a 47-page complaint to the district attorney, with evidence. But I wasn't done. I also contacted local news outlets. One hungry investigative journalist took the bait. She came out to the ranch, saw the damage, saw the fake cops on my security footage, and nearly lost her mind. "You've got a full-blown RICO case on your hands," she said. She was right, because this wasn't just about me. The HOA had done this to others, scaring old couples, seizing land with fraudulent fines, running a shadow network of enforcers who looked official but held no authority. The deeper we dug, the uglier it got. Offshore accounts, fake code violations, and a private security firm run by a man who lost his real police badge a decade ago. I decided to go public. We held a press conference. I stood on the courthouse steps with my cowboy boots, my bolo tie, and my briefcase full of truth. I laid it all out: names, photos, dates, and the fact that I used to be the Attorney General. That just made the story explode. People came out of the woodwork. Former HOA victims, neighbors, even ex-board members who felt guilty. The court issued restraining orders. The state opened a criminal investigation, and the fake cops arrested 2 days later. But the war wasn't over. The HOA president, Karen Whitlock, wasn't just a tyrant. She was calculating. She hired lawyers, sued me for defamation, claimed I doctored the evidence. So I countered. I filed a federal civil rights lawsuit, and since I knew the judges, I got it on the docket fast. In court, Karen looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. Her attorneys squirmed when I presented the footage, when the sheriff confirmed the men were not licensed officers, when the feed poisoning was linked to a board member's farm supply purchase. The jury took 3 hours to decide. Verdict: guilty, fraud, impersonation, conspiracy, harassment. The HOA was fined $3.2 million and dissolved permanently. Karen, facing time. And me? I got peace. No more knocks, no more threats, just me, my land, my horses, and the sign I posted on the edge of the property: private ranch, no trespassing, former Attorney General lives, here. You'd be amazed how effective. That is. 3 days after the verdict, I thought the storm would finally pass. I was wrong. It turns out, when you take down a fraudulent HOA with armed impersonators and millions of dollars in fines, people notice, especially the media. I woke up that Monday to a different kind of knock. This time it was real reporters. CNN, Fox, even a team from Vice News, all camped outside my gate. I gave one statement: I'm not a hero. I'm just a man who knows the law and won't back down from bullies, badges, or not. That line ran everywhere. Cable shows debated it, morning talk shows dramatized it, and podcasters broke down my 47-page complaint like it was a true crime thriller. Overnight, my ranch became a symbol, a fortress of resistance against HOA tyranny. But attention like that, it comes with shadows. Karen Whitlock wasn't done. Her lawyers filed for appeal, claiming judicial bias due to my past role as Attorney General. They tried to disqualify the judge, failed. Tried to bury evidence under privacy claims, failed. Again. And when that didn't work, they went low. They sent people to smear me. A week after the verdict, a man with a microphone ambushed me in the grocery store parking lot, accused me of abusing my former office, said I'd fabricated the whole thing to get back in the spotlight. Cameras were rolling. My only response: you just admitted you know who I am and what I used to do. Now ask yourself, would a former Attorney General really fake felony impersonation charges just to go viral? The reporter backed off. But I knew Karen had shifted tactics, from direct threats to media manipulation. Didn't matter. I had truth on my side and evidence to back every claim. Still, I wasn't content to just win. I wanted to end the rot, completely. See, in the discovery process, we'd uncovered a digital trail. Emails between HOA board members, texts to the security firm, even scanned receipts for those knockoff badges. But one folder stood out. It was labeled Acquisition Initiative 2030. Inside, a list of properties adjacent to Silver Ridge, mine among them. Notes on who owned them, their vulnerabilities, and what tactics could be used to bring them under HOA control. Some were elderly, some in financial trouble. One man had cancer. Karen's board had planned to steamroll them all. I couldn't let that slide, so I formed a coalition. 10 families, each on the list. Most had never fought back, scared into silence. But now, with the HOA defanged and Karen under indictment, they had hope. And a leader. We filed a class action civil suit for attempted land seizure, emotional distress, and financial coercion. It made national news. Again. I started getting letters, not just from Texas, but from all over the country. Letters from people. who'd been harassed, fined into bankruptcy, or forced to sell their homes by tyrannical HOAs. I read every single one. One family from Nevada sent a photo of their kid holding a sign. "Thanks for standing up to the fake cops." But not all. Attention was friendly. One night, just after midnight, a fire broke out in my west barn. I got the call from my perimeter system. Thermal cameras had caught a figure running off. By the time I reached it, half the structure was gone. The fire department said it was arson. Confirmed accelerants. I knew who sent that message. But unlike the first time, I didn't wait. I filed federal charges. This wasn't just about HOA harassment anymore. This was retaliation against a whistleblower, a protected class under both state and federal law. I pulled every legal string I could, and trust me, I had a lot. Karen was arrested again, this time without the theatrics. No security firm, no fake badges. Just a pair of real handcuffs and a U.S. Marshal reading her rights. The footage aired on the evening news. Her being led out of her cookie-cutter mansion in pajamas, flanked by law enforcement. It was poetic. During her bail hearing, I showed up. Not for revenge, but for accountability. The judge denied bail. Too much of a flight risk. Too many connections in questionable places. Now, with Karen locked away, we turned our attention to the private security firm that armed those fake enforcers. It was run by a man named Tyler Briggs, former law enforcement, dishonorably discharged for brutality charges and banned from ever wearing a badge again. But somehow, he'd built a business off fake authority. His men wore uniforms that mimicked police issue, carried firearms, issued notices, even used lights on their trucks to pull people over in HOA zones. And no one had stopped him. Until now, the FBI got involved. I handed over every photo, video, and document I'd collected. Turns out Briggs was running similar operations in 4 states. We're talking racketeering, wire fraud, unlawful detention, and impersonation. He was arrested in Oklahoma, trying to board a private jet. With Karen and Briggs behind bars, the story should have ended. But it didn't. See, when you expose a fraud this big, people don't just want you to testify. They want you to lead. Former victims began showing up at my ranch. Not many at first. A couple in an RV. A widowed veteran who said his HOA fined him for flying a flag. A young couple with a baby who got sued for putting up a tiny fence around their garden. They didn't want charity. They wanted advice, safety, community. So I gave it to them. I designated a part of my land, 5 acres, as a temporary refuge, set up water and electric hookups, built a meeting hall out of reclaimed lumber. We called it the Outpost. Even filed to make it an official nonprofit, Citizens Against HOA Tyranny, or CAT. It took off like wildfire. Within 2 months, we had chapters in 3 states. Lawyers volunteered, retired lawmen, builders who'd lost work due to HOA contracts, even a few politicians. They'd all been burned before, and now they wanted to help stop it from happening again. Meanwhile, Karen's trial began. The federal charges included conspiracy to commit fraud, impersonation of law enforcement, and attempted witness intimidation. It was open and shut. Her own emails did her in. She tried to paint herself as the victim, claimed I had a vendetta, that I rallied, a mob against her. But the prosecution shredded that narrative. They showed surveillance footage, audio recordings, and bank records tracing HOA dues to offshore accounts. She was found guilty on all counts, sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. The courtroom applauded. Even the judge banged his gavel twice, not to silence, but to acknowledge. But I wasn't there to celebrate. I had a town hall to run. That night, we gathered in the Outpost. Nearly 50 people from across the state. Some were just visiting. Some were staying long-term. I stood on a makeshift stage and told them the truth. This wasn't about me. It was about the abuse of power, about fear disguised as policy. About people forgetting that this land, your land, isn't governed by vinyl fences and lawn paint rules. It's governed by the Constitution. They stood up, clapped. Some cried. We started organizing campaigns, educational toolkits, seminars, legal self-defense classes. Former victims became advocates. Some ran for city council to change HOA laws from within. The state legislature took notice. A senator introduced the HOA Transparency and Accountability Act, requiring audits, limiting fines, and banning security contractors without public credentials. It passed unanimously. But the most powerful moment came on a quiet Sunday morning. A boy named Eli, maybe 12 years old, came up to me with a folded piece of paper. Inside was a hand-drawn badge. Underneath it, he'd written, "To Mr. Attorney General Mann, thanks for protecting my mom." I kept that badge, framed it, hung it right above the fireplace in the barn that got rebuilt, stronger than ever. They came for me with fake authority, empty threats, and real malice. But I answered with law, with truth, and with grit carved from the Texas soil itself. And now, my ranch isn't just mine. It's a beacon, a last stand, a reminder that no matter how many badges you flash or how many lawyers you hire, justice still lives here, and it's got cowboy boots, a bolo tie, and a past that won't be intimidated.